From the Toronto studios, bringing you a special bulletin on the Israel-Palestine crisis. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zahra Syed. Our top story tonight: Israel has increased its heavy bombardment of Gaza, leading to casualties and destruction in various areas, resulting in a death toll of over 11,000. The Palestinian Ministry of Health reports that at least 12 people were killed when Israeli bombs struck the Al-Fahura school, with over 54 others wounded. Two mosques in southern Gaza City, the Ali bin Abi Talib and the Al-Istijaba mosques, were also destroyed in recent attacks. The Al Nasser Children's Hospital came under fire as well, resulting in numerous casualties. Israeli airstrikes once again targeted the Jabalia refugee camp. Earlier on Friday evening, an ambulance convoy was targeted, resulting in 15 deaths, although Israel has claimed in that attack it was targeting Hamas fighters. Israel has dropped over 25,000 tons of explosives on Gaza since the start of the war on October 7th, Gaza's media office said on Saturday. The Israel Defense Forces expanded its ground offensive in northern Gaza, encircling Gaza City and engaging with Hamas, leading to the death of one soldier. The IDF says it aims to eliminate Hamas field commanders and has already taken out several high-ranking members. So far, 25 Israeli soldiers have died since the ground offensive began. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has reached Jordan for a summit with Arab leaders after concluding a trip to Israel. At least 9,227 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th, including more than 3,000 children. More than 1,400 people have been killed in Israel. Over 100 protesters gathered at the port of Oakland to call for a ceasefire in the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict. Protest organizers allege that a ship at the port is transporting military supplies to Israel. While some demonstrators attempted to board the ship, no arrests were reported and port operations remained unaffected. A spokesperson for the U.S. Coast Guard says the ship is part of the Department of Defense Maritime Administration, an agency that moves military supplies around the world. In London, a solidarity protest for Palestinians took place at King's Cross Station, with demonstrators later marching to Euston Station, chanting pro-Palestinian slogans. A scuffle occurred when a pro-Israel individual tried to grab a pro-Palestine sign, leading to the handcuffing of a pro-Palestine marcher by the police. Meanwhile, the Peace Boat, a Japan-based NGO, sailed from the Greek port of Piraeus to express solidarity with Palestine. Passengers on board demanded an unconditional ceasefire in response to Israel's ongoing attacks on Gaza, condemning the indiscriminate bombing of civilians. International coordinator of the Peace Boat, Karen Hollows, emphasized the need for immediate humanitarian aid and a ceasefire in Gaza. A Palestinian pastor has posted footage showing a state of panic inside the Holy Family Church in Gaza amid Israeli airstrikes. Around 700 displaced Palestinians are taking shelter inside the church in Gaza. Mitri Rahab said on X that Israeli warplanes struck the vicinity of the church in Gaza as prayers were being held at a moment close to death. The video shows children hugging their mothers in fear, while others scream in panic. Books and paintings are seen scattered on the ground. This week, the Israeli army has expanded its air and ground attacks on Gaza, which has been under relentless airstrikes since a cross-border attack by Hamas on October 7th. Israel's order to hospitals to evacuate in Gaza is endangering the lives of hundreds of patients. The World Health Organization has warned that a forced evacuation under these circumstances puts the lives of hundreds of patients at risk. Head of WHO Tedros Ghebreyesus said at a press conference in Geneva that 23 hospitals in Gaza City and the northern Gaza Strip had been ordered to evacuate. He said that transferring a baby on life support was dangerous, even in a high-income country, and would mean the end of life in Gaza. Ghebreyesus said that such evacuations not only put patients at risks, but also puts healthcare workers in an impossible situation. There have been 237 attacks on health services so far, 218 of them in the occupied Palestinian territories and 19 in Israel. Ghebreyesus added that the WHO would do everything in its power to ensure that all people in Gaza have access to life-saving medical and humanitarian services. He called for a humanitarian pause in the fighting and ideally an end to the conflict. A recent United Nations report suggests that decades of progress in human health and well-being are under threat due to the rapid pace of climate change. The report highlights the urgent need for tailored climate information and services within the healthcare sector. It says the world is currently experiencing unprecedented warming, leading to increasingly severe weather, deteriorating air quality, emerging infectious diseases, and food and water insecurity. Despite these risks, the report highlights that climate action remains underfinanced worldwide, leaving populations vulnerable to these climate-related health threats. WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus stressed that the climate crisis is also a healthcare crisis. He said unpredictable weather events, disease outbreaks, and higher rates of non-communicable diseases are becoming a direct consequence. The report projects that by 2030, there will be 560 medium to large-scale disaster events annually, equivalent to 3 events every 2 days. Countries lacking adequate early warning systems are expected to experience mortality rates 8 times higher than those with robust systems in place. Extreme heat, in particular, poses a significant threat, with heat-related mortality potentially being 30 times higher than current records. A special unit of the Kenyan police has been put on trial for the murder of Arshad Sharif, a prominent Pakistani journalist who was killed in October 2022. Sharif, who was known for his relentless and critical reporting on the Pakistani military and government, had been subjected to multiple death threats in the years leading up to his death. Sharif's widow, Javaria Siddiqui, announced that she has taken legal action against the Kenyan police for their alleged involvement in her husband's murder. She said the Kenyan police never apologized or even sent a message to the family after her husband's assassination. Suspecting the complicity of Kenyan police, Siddiqui said she decided to file a lawsuit in Kenya so that her husband gets justice. Siddiqui is demanding that all Kenyan police officers who did not investigate the crime judiciously be punished. Kenyan police described the shooting as a case of mistaken identity. Sharif's death had shaken up the journalist community not only in Pakistan, but worldwide. That's all from our Toronto studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.